even just a little bit small for either the police station or the city hall. So if we were to do something there, what we'd have to look at is, do we separate the two uses? Put one in one facility and one in another? Do we add on to that facility to make it to the square footage we want to be at? So there's a whole bunch of questions that kind of come up with this whole different options. One of the other options is if we were to renovate the existing city hall, one of the problems that we run into with an existing city hall is I believe that building was probably built in the 60s, which means that asbestos is probably part of the equation if we look at it. Don't know when the mechanical system was done in that last. Chances are pretty good that we have to redo the whole mechanical system. Another issue we have to look at is the electrical. I don't know how well that's functioning. It may be fine, but what happens is when we start redoing the space, we get into a bunch of different reworks, and then potentially there's code issues with the existing, so we'd have to upgrade that stuff. Bathrooms meeting ADA is going to be an issue because back in the 60s, they were usually fairly tight. I haven't been into the bathrooms at City Hall or the police station, but I'm going to gather both of them are probably in that same range. Another police station also, renovation in that, I'm going to guess asbestos could be an issue just because of the age of the building.
It doesn't look like it, but I'm not anywhere certified to say whether it is or
not. So, those are a couple of issues. The other issue with the existing building is that looking at the access rent that's there, I mean, it's kind of questionable if, it meets it. So then if we have to kind of go through that whole exercise again, we're spending some money outside to make everything up to code. So right now, I think for me, I'm trying to take in all the information and to present you all with as much information as I can actually gather from these spaces so that you can make an educated decision. It's not my decision as to what you do. I'm trying to inform you and certainly willing to look at all the different options and entertain questions. What if we do this or what if we do that? And then I can give you an educated background or, give you as much information as I can give you so that we can make an educated decision based on, I've been told about $1 million is about where we want to be. That may be right, may be wrong, whether it's lower or higher, I don't know. And then there's potential for a couple $100,000 in contingency in case, numbers go high or low, or mostly on the high side. And hopefully, based on that, we can all make a decision that works for the city on which way we go. We may find out that the new building is the best decision. We may find out that probably is something that's out of our cost, depending on, where we want to be with cost. So I think right now there's a lot of unknowns, and what we want to do is start kind of nailing down some of those unknowns and get as much information as we possibly can to make an educated decision. We met a little bit prior to this meeting just to kind of, let everybody know the information that I knew. And, I learned some in that discussion as well. But I think one of the things that we may want to look at first, if we want to look at all the different options that are on the table, is to just have a testing done for both the police station and the city hall for asbestos. That will probably tell us if moving forward with any of those is a good idea or a bad idea. And then we start to eliminate options. Then we'll start getting down to where we can make, or I can give you all the options, and then you can make that decision, because I don't think it's my decision, or it shouldn't be my decision as to where you go, because I'm not the most educated in your budget and where you want to spend your money and how you want to spend your money. So I'll leave that up to you, that, once you make a decision, you can tell me which way you want to proceed, and we'll work down that avenue. But I think right now, what I've tried to do with the new building, and potentially with I learned a little bit more about the animal shelter today as well. I can start to get, especially with the animal shelter, I can start to give you a little bit more in terms of pricing and let you know where I think that might be in terms of dollars, so that you can say, okay, yeah, we can proceed with that, or no, we don't have the funds to do it, or, you know, we can make it a little bit bigger than what we were thinking. And, you know, I think what we need to do is kind of make these two different independent projects and look at them separately. One of the things that I think we want to look at, though, is as we get down the road, is whether we keep these projects as separate bidding items or if we combine them. I feel like you get more for your money if you combine them into one project, because there's more dollar value to it, which would make the contractors more interested in the project. First of all, give us a little bit more opportunity with, you know, pricing. But then the other part of this would be that by doing both projects at the same time, you would save money by using the same contractor's superintendent to run both projects. If you did it independently, the cost of the overhead on these projects kind of escalates pretty quickly, because keeping somebody on site for the animal shelter and then someone on site for the City Hall Police Station kind of doubles that cost. And those costs are pretty significant for keeping a superintendent on site, their mobilization costs, their, you know, expenses for outhouses and office space. And if you can combine them into one project, which I think Dan would have to tell us if that's a possibility or not, since the funding is two different things. But, you know, if it's possible, that would be the best way to conserve money and use more of it towards what you want in a building or animal shelter, and, you know, see where we go. But I think right now, what I'm hearing is that there's still a lot of unknowns out there, and we're not gonna really, can't go down one path yet. We've got to still kind of research all the different options and find out what's the best value for the city, and, you know, put all those options on the table and see where city wants to go in terms of dollars, and whether it's new construction or renovating existing structures.
Okay. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Mark?
I do. Alderman Durham. So what we need to do tonight is go into a contract with you and get you to proceed on the asbestos testing. Is that correct?
Actually, ideally, if we could get a contract to get us started on the project to kind of get information. Asbestos is something that our insurance carrier is a no-no for us.
Oh, okay.
So what we would have to do is I can work with you to find somebody that can
Okay.
do it, but I can't do it through my contract.
Through your company.
Right. So what I could do is we work with Texas Consulting, which is out of the Midland area, and they do stuff all over the area, but they're very good and they've done it for a long time. I could kind of get an idea from him what he thinks it would cost to do the testing in both the police station and City Hall, and then get back to you with those costs. And if you think those are reasonable, we could either go ahead with him, or we can certainly get other people that, if somebody knows somebody that there's a high level of confidence with, because we don't want to get somebody that's kind of, you know, fly by night group with this,
Yeah.
because this is a life and death situation with asbestos. So we've had good luck with them. They're very responsible, and we found them to be very reasonable. So I could get those numbers for you, get them back over to everybody, and then you can make a decision if that's something you want to move forward with. But
So this here is what? Is that correct?
that would move us forward, yeah.
That is to move you forward.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't re-
I've actually kind of taken a risk and gone.
Yes.
I knew,
Yes,
we
that's
knew,
what
and we
we-
appreciate it very
Yes.
much. I didn't know, is there cost in here, kind of an estimate of,
I think in this first part, I'll include that in what we generally would do because I think we still need to kind of go through a lot of process with everybody here as to where we're going. But I think the first thing we need to do is kind of see in these buildings that are existing, and I don't know if we want to test the Dairy Queen or not at this point. I think what we need to do is start having a little bit more concrete information so that we can make either, any of these buildings still part of the equation or eliminate them. And I think that's something the asbestos will do based on, what they find in these buildings. He could probably give me a good ballpark of what he would expect to see for a cost for getting the asbestos out. And then at that point, the city can decide which way you want to go. Because one of the things that will happen, let's just say that you don't use the city hall because there was a bunch of asbestos. You have that information and you can either use the building as is for other functions, keep it as a city hall and we figure some other combination of things out. Or if, let's just say you abandon it, you know what the cost will potentially be if you decide to take the building down or, do something with it. It'll help you for, a period of years in order to make decisions as a city. Same thing with the police station.
Does anyone else have any questions? The way I'm understanding this, then, we need to decide if we're going to pass a resolution to accept them. I guess my question to Dan is, this is in contingent to getting in compliance for this, the loan that we have, loan grant for the sewer. Is some of this reimbursed if we hire him, or is this all out of pocket?
It would be, we would pay with city funds initially, but as soon as the loan closes, that's once we've decided on a plan and we're moving forward with the construction, then they'll be closing the loan. Mr. Perkins is joining us. These costs would be reimbursed at that point, and we'd put those funds back into our operating account.
Okay, then council, we need to make a decision if we're going to follow through with this, the agreement. And if so, I need a motion to accept BGA as the architect group.
I make a motion that we go into contract with Mark and a VGA architect to get started on seeing what our options are and getting the asbestos checked and everything. I make a motion. Did I say that?
This is Alderman Bias. I'll second it.
All in favor to go into a contract agreement with VGA Architects? All in favor, Alderman Wadzik, Alderman Sellers,
Aye.
Alderman Durham, Alderman Bias,
Aye.
and Alderman Middleton, aye. So it has passed that we will work with you. I'm speaking for all the council. We would, it sounds like we need to meet with you to kind of, are we all agreement to go ahead and let him do the asbestos or to find someone that can do it so that we'll know, because we all kind of know what we are wanting to do, right? Okay.
And I think I'm at a point too where I've got a bunch of stuff on the thumb drive, but I don't know how to kind of get it out to everybody. through a Zoom type meeting. So I think what I'll do is I'll send all this information to Dan so that he can distribute it to everybody. And one of these things that you're going to see here, which is a little bit lengthy, it kind of addresses all the rooms that we had discussed and, you know, what our minimum square footages are on that. And I think what everyone really kind of needs to do is take a look at what you think, you know, each of us is thinking each of these spaces is going to need. Obviously, the police department, he's got his ideas. You know, I think you guys will have to all run it by each other, see if it all works. But then on the flip side, you know, for City Hall, you know, what spaces you think really are needed in there, and if I'm missing some or, you know, too much, and, you know, see if we can get to a square footage. That way we can decide if, let's just, at this point, we'll use that 250 a square foot, see what kind of square footage we have and see what our dollar amount is. And then you can say, hey, it's a little bit too much, or, you know, we're not happy with that. You got to remember too, with that 250 a square foot, that's the building cost. We still have costs for utilities that have to be included in that, paving, some sidewalk stuff. So, you know, it's not just that 250. We've got, you know, costs on top of that that need to be figured into that. And I can kind of help you out as we go a little further down the line to kind of start. What we're really doing is we're taking a big look at this point, and ideally we're narrowing it down to a few choices that will help you make decisions and ultimately get us to where you as a city want to go with the money that you have and the projects that you have in mind.
Okay. We will want to definitely visit with you once you can get someone down to do the asbestos check on both buildings and everything, and then we can definitely move forward from there.
Okay. And I'll give them a call tomorrow and see, it'll probably take a couple of days to get a number from them, but if anyone has like a floor plan, even like a fire exit plan for police station or the city hall, that would be very helpful so that he can take a look at, you know, how many spaces are in there and how many samples he has to take.
Okay, okay.
And then I think after that, we'll decide on, you know, when, if you want to move forward with that based on the cost, and then see what kind of a time frame it'll take. And in the meantime, anything that you all want me to look at, I can start looking at those so that, you know, we just don't do things sequentially. We do them a bunch of tasks at the same time so we can get to a finish point quicker, or, you know, get all the information gathered quicker.
Okay. And Mark, just to make sure, I know you and Cindy had visited, but on the dog pound and everything, that is going through our economic development board. And
Right.
so really, I mean, yes, we'll have the final vote, I think. Is that right, Cindy? Y'all would present it to us, and then, but
The PDC board approves it, and then it has to go through the whole.
and with us being reimbursed, I think through this loan that we're getting, that they're the ones requiring that we update our city hall. I feel like, you know, we might can in the future use the same supervisor or whatever, but I feel like, you know, the billing that y'all will have on what we're needing to do to be in compliance, it will, because we will be in reimbursed through that loan, that
Yeah.
it'll probably need to be.
We'll do each of these projects independently for the drawings. And then when we get to the point where, you know, we want to do construction, we can decide whether they go together or independent.
Okay, okay. But does anyone else have any questions for Mark or anything? We just know that when you can find out the information and stuff, we would be excited to know and kind of be able to set up a meeting with you so we can move forward.
Yeah, ideally, if I can get the PDFs for this set of drawings, then I can put,
Give me your,
okay, it's,
I'll just come,
Okay,
you can write it down.
And Mark, if it's okay, if you don't want to stay, we're more than happy for you to head home and stuff and have a safe trip, and we're going to move on to the next item. Do you have anything else you need to? Okay, okay. All right, y'all, we're on item 7, and it is, okay.
I'll get all that.
The resolution 21-01-11B, a resolution to publish the notice of intent to issue combination tax and surplus revenue, the certificates of obligation, and it is for the West Texas, or the Texas Water Department Board financial assistance in the amount of $6,084,000. Is someone talking? I'm sorry, Dan.
No, I wasn't going to say anything. Who is our advisor is joined the meeting. And what this is, as I said in my report to you, is a resolution that we are going to file notice of a publication that the city intends to issue a combination tax and revenue bond.
And this is something that has to be done in order for us to move forward.
Yes, it is, ma'am. As a matter of fact, I gave you a calendar of events that need to take place in order for us to meet the closing date with the Texas Water Development Board on time. This is the first of the steps. The final one will be in March.
Okay, I got that. I didn't. Okay, so we need to make a motion to accept this resolution or to pass the resolution.
Yes, ma'am. And once you do that, then I'll publish this same thing that the Exhibit A, which is telling everybody what we're intending to do.
Okay. So
This is
council, we,
Alderman Sellers, and I'll make a motion that we pass resolution 21-01-11-B to publish a notice of intent to issue combination tax and surplus revenue certificates of obligation.
Alderman Durham, I second. Resolution 2101-11-B.
we have had a first and second to pass the resolution, and all in favor, Alderman Wadzik, Alderman Sellers,
Aye.
Alderman Bias, Alderman Durham,
Aye.
Alderman Middleton, aye. Okay, the next one is item number 8 on the agenda, resolution 21-01-11A. It's to enter into a contract with Government Capital Corporation to finance an animal control vehicle. We all know about this, and so I need a first and second. Make a motion.
Alderman Durham, I make a motion that we sign resolution 2101-11-A regarding contract for the purpose of financing an animal control vehicle.
Alderman Sellers, and I second.
We have had a first and second to pass resolution 2101-11A. All in favor, Alderman Wadzik, Alderman Sellers,
Aye.
Alderman Durham,
Aye.
Alderman Bias, Alderman Middleton, aye. The next agenda item is discussion how and where city council meetings are being handled and held for the city of Seagraves. Do we have any? It was supposed to be not just a discussion, but we were supposed to have where we could
Take action.
take action on this. And so I guess our question to you, Dan, is, because it does just say discussion, if we want to take action on this, can we?
Yeah, the attorney, I'm sorry about the feedback. The attorney is saying that the describing of where and how the council will meet is up to the council.
Okay, say that again. Could y'all hear him?
According to the decision as to where and how you meet is up to the council. So you can prescribe that you meet where you are and on a date and a time that you prescribe.
Okay, Dan, we can't hear you and you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
you
I'm trying to
can
keep
turn-
the feedback. Hold on just a second, please. This is a new operating system, and I can't see where to turn down my microphone, my speaker. But perhaps it'll help if I just try and get it away from here. I'm going to leave the screen. I'll speak to you. All right, so what the attorney says is that
Hello?
you're saying
Dan, I'm sorry, but we cannot hear you. I guess since we're waiting on Dan to tell us what the attorney said, do we have discussion here? Does anyone?
Alderman Durham, these Zoom meetings are not working. They're just not working. And I realize that there's issues with health and everything, but we got to get back to meeting. Everybody meeting in the same building.
This is Shannon Wonsick, and we've got more than enough space that we're more than 6 foot apart. There's no reason why we should not be having a meeting. This is wasting a lot of time. We're backtracking on things that we should not be having to backtrack on. It should have already been taken care of. And we've got to figure out right now what we're gonna do to move forward.
As a council, are we saying that we do not want to have any more Zoom meetings, that we want them in person? And that we have the community building that is offered to us. We have a resolution with the county that we can meet here. We as a council do not want to have any more Zoom meetings. We want them in person. We know that the city hall is not big enough. We do have room here. And we asked for this not to be just a discussion item, but we wanted it to be an action item. And if we can move forward on it, or do we have to have a special meeting to say how we want to handle these? We've had no choice as a council how we've had our meetings. We've been told how we're going to have the meetings. And as a council, we're voicing our opinion. So we are stating that as of today, there will be no more Zoom meetings. We didn't vote that we could have Zoom meetings. We were told. And so as a board, and I would like for everyone to just say their name and if you agree that no more Zoom meetings. And yes, if someone wants to make a motion that we will meet in person at the community building for our meetings. And I need a first and second to move forward on this.
Alderman Sellers, I second.
I have a first and second to do away with all Zoom meetings for the city of Seagraves. And all in favor of, okay, all in favor, Alderman Wadzik, Alderman Sellers,
Aye.
Alderman Durham,
Aye.
Alderman Bias,
Aye.
Alderman Middleton, aye. I noticed that we do not have a consent agenda item to pay bills or to even talk to our city department heads. I'm sorry that y'all came, but it's not an item and there's nothing we can do. There's no one here. Is there anyone on the Zoom that wants to talk under public comment? There is none, so we will move to item 11. Any new business? I just want to throw this out here. I've kind of done some thinking. You know, we do have our railroad, and I you know, you just get to thinking when everything kind of looks bloom and boom, you know, just not good. But, you know, I think we need to, as a community, we need to talk to USDA and find out if there is any businesses, because we are the Gaines County is capital, peanut capital of Texas. We do have a railroad. And if there is any kind of business that would, you know, like a processing plant or just like the Nut House in Seminole, something that, you know, we could have here in town. And I feel like USDA could help us on that with the farm, you know, with them being in touch with farmers and stuff. But, you know, I mean, just as a community, we need to be thinking of some businesses. And I know we've talked about a bunch, but, you know, maybe even our economic development board, meet with them and see if there's something that, something we can do to bring some businesses in. I just wanted to throw that out there. Does anyone else have any new business they want to bring up or anything? Renee, do you know how old our SCADA system is? When it's been updated last and?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
I couldn't hear anything Shannon was saying, but the SCADA system that we currently have is probably about 15 years old. And it's been updated. We use the people from Hobbs, the ones that we pay to their server. We use their server, so it's fairly modern. We need to replace some of the components, some antennas and stuff like that. But as far as the actual SCADA system, it's fairly updated. Was there another question? Did I answer the right question?
And my question is, I mean, if it's 15 years old and it's, I
The
mean, I'm
component.
just, the component, yes.
Yes, the radios, the receivers, like that, some of that. But as far as the actual computer SCADA system, the controllers, they're updated. Levels updated. Just a few receivers and antennas need to replace.
My only question is that the person that contacted me, was just curious as to, if we would be interested at all in the new digital stuff that he has, or is that just not even in feasibility?
I'm sure it's something that I would be to look at. I've had several different companies come by and talk to me about it. But I don't mind looking at anything that people bring to my attention.
Okay. I actually wrote on this just now. I shouldn't have, but I will scan this in at my office tomorrow and email it to you.
Okay, be great.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Where are they from? Can I ask? I'm sorry.
I believe they're out of Seminole.
Out of Seminole?
Uh-huh. It's called Site Pro.
Okay. All right.
And while we're on the subject, Renee, talking about that, maybe updating the SCADA system, is that something we might throw in with the water tower in the future? I mean, to look at all that?
I don't know. I'll talk to Chad about it and see if that's something that we might need to do. Like I said, we've done quite a few upgrades to it in the last few years, but I'll talk to Chad about it and I'll see what kind of system they have and whether it can be used with the current hardware that we have and, the different aspects of it.
Okay.
I'm telling you, a whole new change out will cost a lot of money. It's very expensive.
I apologize. Site Pro, they're out of Lubbock.
Okay.
Okay.
I honestly think there's somebody that is not in the discussion that's breaking in on the sound.
Yes.
It doesn't sound like anybody at the table.
Right. Does anyone else have any new business or anything they would like to bring up?
It's what election this year? Do we know?
Dan, the question was the election. Are you taking applications for? Do we even know what position is up? Okay, Dan, I'm sorry, we can't hear you.
The mayor, like the way he said it's the mayor.
Hey, Dan, this is Alderman Sellers. Just nod yes or no. Is the mayor up for election this year? Is he the only one? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if there's no other discussion, we need to set the time for the next meeting in February. And that would be February the 8th. We will have it here at the community building. It will not be Zoom. We will be in person. We will be able to sit 20 feet apart and still have a meeting. And so, any other thing? If not, I need a motion to adjourn.
This meeting.
All in favor to adjourn the meeting, and thank you all very much.
Aye.